Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Armageddon. Today we're going to be featuring a Brawl deck with Korvold, Fae-Cursed King as our commander, as the final video of our series of Brawl videos featuring commanders from Throne of Eldraine. Korvold was not released as part of the main Throne of Eldraine set, but as part of a commander expansion, and was the commander of a pre-constructed Brawl deck when Arena first introduced that format as a special event. Korvold, despite being printed for Brawl and Commander, saw play in Standard in a Sacrifice shell. Korvold is one of my favorite commanders, and the constructed Sacrifice deck built around him was one of my favorites to play. Korvold is a powerful commander because he has an impact immediately upon entering by drawing a card when you sacrifice another permanent, which can include a land if you don't have anything else to sacrifice to him. There are a lot of different ways to build a deck around Korvold. I've chosen a deck that is heavily black and focused around sacrificing creatures for value. Now, although Pioneer Masters has just been released on Arena, this deck list does not include any cards from Pioneer Masters, as I just found that the options did not synergize better with the deck's game plan than what was already in here. So that's a little too bad, but that's just how it goes. I've broken the deck down into categories, which we'll look at now. I usually begin with mana acceleration, but I actually don't have much of it in this deck because I'm playing extra lands, so we don't usually have a problem hitting our land drops. And only a few of our spells have mana value of 5 or 6 as well, so the curve is relatively low. Our first category consists of our sacrifice fodder. At 1 mana, Persistent Specimen can return from the graveyard directly to the battlefield. At 2 mana, Clattering Augur draws a card when it enters at the cost of 1 life, and can be returned from the graveyard to our hand, while Jadar, Ghoul Caller of Nephalia, makes a zombie token with Decayed at the end of our turn if we don't already have one such token in play. Reassembling Skeleton can be put directly onto the battlefield from our graveyard, while the new Undead Sprinter from Duskmourn is a recursive threat. Vine Reap Mentor creates 3 pieces of sacrifice fodder with just 1 spell. Endless Cockroaches, reprinted in Foundation's Jumpstart, return to our hand when they die, while the new 9 Lives Familiar from Foundations returns to the battlefield up to 8 times when it dies. Finally, Solemn Simulacrum is one of our few ramp spells, which we don't mind sacrificing because it draws a card when it dies. Next, we have our sacrifice enablers. Priest of Forgotten Gods has a powerful activated ability as long as we have 2 other creatures to sacrifice with it, while the new Disturbing Mirth draws 2 cards if we sacrifice another creature or enchantment to it, and is perfect sacrifice fodder for Korvold. Fell Stinger draws 2 cards at the cost of 2 life if it exploits a creature, including itself. You can also target the opponent with Fell Stinger's ability, so sometimes you can kill them with it. Woe Strider can sacrifice other creatures for free at instant speed to scry, comes with a goat token, and can be escaped out of the graveyard. While if Rankle, Master of Pranks, hits the opponent, you can choose from up to 3 modes that affect both players, between discarding a card, drawing a card at the cost of 1 life, or sacrificing a creature. Yawgmoth, Thran Physician, can sacrifice other creatures to put -1/-1 counters on any creature and draw cards, and his activated ability to proliferate can be useful if we have a Planeswalker or Korvold in play. Immersturm Predator's Graveyard Hate, exiling cards from graveyards and getting bigger whenever it is tapped, and can sacrifice another creature to become indestructible, while Vraska, Golgari Queen, can sacrifice any other permanent, including lands, to draw a card and gain 1 life, and can destroy any non-land permanent with mana value 3 or less. Our next category consists of our sacrifice payoffs. Blood Artist, the new Vengeful Blood Witch from Foundations, Zulaport Cutthroat, and Bastion of Remembrance all drain the opponent when our creatures die. Blood Artist is strictly better because it also triggers when the opponent's creatures die. Xander's Wake puts additional creatures into our hand from its spellbook whenever 1 or more of our creatures die once per turn. Meanwhile, Midnight Reaper and Morbid Opportunist draw cards whenever our creatures die. Morbid Opportunist also triggers when opposing creatures die, but only once each turn. Mayhem Devil can ping any target whenever either player sacrifices a permanent. while the new Fumulus the Infestation from Foundation's Jumpstart creates more sacrifice fodder whenever either player sacrifices a non-token creature. Pitiless Plunderer creates a treasure when one of our creatures die. Pitiless Plunderer is also part of an infinite combo with Korvold and a sacrifice outlet that I'll describe later. While Forge Boss deals 2 damage to the opponent once each turn whenever we sacrifice another creature. The new Wardens of the Cycle from Foundations can either gain us 2 life or draw a card on our end step if a creature died that turn, while Moldervine Reclamation draws us a card and gains us 1 life anytime our creatures die for any reason. Our next category consists of our removal. At 1 mana, Bloodchief Thirst kills smaller creatures and can be kicked to destroy bigger creatures and planeswalkers. Bone Shards destroys any creature or planeswalker if we discard a card or sacrifice a creature, while Eaten Alive exiles any creature or planeswalker for just 1 mana if we sacrifice a creature. Meanwhile, we can often enable Fatal Push and Tragic Slip, which was reprinted in Foundation's Jumpstart, to take out larger creatures. At 2 mana, Bitter Triumph and Power Stone Fracture can destroy both creatures and planeswalkers, while Feed the Swarm can also destroy enchantments. Go for the Throat and Heartless Act both destroy a creature at instant speed, while Severed Strands destroys a creature if we sacrifice a creature. Meanwhile, Abrade either deals 3 damage to a creature or destroys an artifact. Outland Liberator can be sacrificed to destroy an artifact or enchantment, but if it turns to night, transforms into Frenzied Trapbreaker, which can destroy an artifact or enchantment when it attacks. Terror Sunder, meanwhile, can be kicked to exile any non-land permanent. Angrath's Rampage makes the opponent sacrifice either a creature, an artifact, or planeswalker, while Bedevil can destroy the same targets at instant speed. Riveteer's Charm makes the opponent sacrifice their best creature or planeswalker, but can also be cast for card advantage or to exile target player's graveyard. Ravenous Chupacabra destroys a creature when it enters and makes for excellent sacrifice fodder, while Binding the Old Gods destroys any opposing non-land permanent and then ramps us on the second chapter. Binding the Old Gods is also great to sacrifice to Korvold or Vraska after its second chapter has resolved. Season of Loss can wipe the board if the opponent does not control many creatures, draw us additional cards, and sometimes burn the opponent out if our graveyard is full. When Cavalier of Night enters, we can sacrifice another creature to destroy any opposing creature, and when it dies, we can return a cheaper creature from our graveyard to the battlefield. Finally, the Meathook Massacre is a board wipe that also pings the opponent whenever our creatures die. Finally, we have a few value spells, including a few more planeswalkers, all of whom make creature tokens to serve as blockers or sacrifice fodder. First, Animation Module creates servo tokens whenever we put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, and can be activated to put a counter of any kind on any permanent or player. It is also part of the infinite combo with Korvold, a sacrifice outlet, and Pitiless Plunderer. Carnelian Orb of Dragonkind, reprinted in Foundations and Foundations Jumpstart, is our only ramp artifact. I'm running it over the cheaper Arcane Signet because it can give Korvold or Immersturm Predator haste. Meanwhile, Lolth Spider Queen can draw cards and make spider tokens with Menace and Reach, and she gains loyalty whenever our creatures die. Liliana Dreadhorde General makes zombie tokens, can act as removal, and draws us a card anytime our creatures die. Her ultimate is also game-winning if we can reach it. Finally, Garrett Cursed Huntsman creates 2 wolf tokens and can act as removal. His ultimate is not as important in this deck when we are trying to win by hitting the opponent with Korvold, but if we reach it, it can speed up that process. Now to talk about the infinite combo with Animation Module, Korvold, Pitiless Plunderer, and a sacrifice outlet. The sacrifice outlet needs to be able to repeatedly sacrifice creatures for free, so in this deck, that's either Woe Strider or Yawgmoth Thran position. How it works is that, while these 4 cards are in play, you sacrifice another creature to your sacrifice outlet. This triggers both Korvold, who gets a +1/+1 counter and draws a card, and Pitiless Plunderer, who creates a treasure. When Korvold gets a +1/+1 counter, this triggers Animation Module, which lets you pay 1 mana to create a servo creature token when a creature you control gets 1 or more +1/+1 counters on it. You sacrifice the servo with your sacrifice outlet, triggering Korvold, Pitiless Plunderer, and Animation Module again, and you can pay for the mana cost of Animation Module's triggered ability by sacrificing the treasures made by Pitiless Plunderer, which triggers Korvold even more. You can do this infinitely, so you can make Korvold absolutely enormous and draw your entire deck. Now, this combo is, however, admittedly difficult to assemble since you need all 4 pieces on the battlefield at the same time, which is hard to do in a 100-card deck. Our mana base contains enough basic lands to make running Fabled Passage and Prismatic Vista worthwhile. We're also running Twisted Landscape. We love lots of dual lands in our colors, many of which come into play untapped most of the time, including the new Blazemire Verge and Thornspire Verge from Duskmourn. We are, of course, playing Command Tower, and we have the tri-land in our colors, Zeator's Proving Ground. We also have all of the fetch lands that can find forests, mountains, and swamps, and they can search for our shock lands and surveil lands. Our utility lands include Castle Lochthwain to draw cards, and Phyrexian Tower, which can add 2 black mana if we sacrifice a creature to it. We have Takenuma, Abandoned Mire, which can be channeled to return a creature or planeswalker from our graveyard to our hand, and Buseju, who endures, which can be channeled to destroy an artifact, enchantment, or non-basic land. We have Restless Cottage as a creature land because it makes food tokens when it attacks, food being excellent sacrifice fodder in this deck. We have Blast Zone as a way of destroying all non-land permanents with mana value equal to the number of charge counters on Blast Zone when we sacrifice it. Finally, we have Reliquary Tower to make it so that we have no maximum hand size, which can be important if we're going off with Korvold. So that's our Korvold deck. Now it's time to take it into the queue and play some games. On the draw, facing Nico, Light of Hope. Not sure what to make of that. I don't have red mana for Riveteer's Charm and Undead Sprinter, but I do have 3 lands, Bone Shards as efficient removal, and Binding for ramp. And we're pretty likely to hit a red source along the way, so I think we keep this. We can discard Undead Sprinter to Bone Shards. And there's red mana. No, I should have played Rockfall Veil tapped on 1, because then I could have played Undead Sprinter. Oh well. Opponent flashes in Entity Tracker. So that draws cards when enchantments enter or you fully unlock a room. And that you draw a card for each enchantment that enters. So for example, if they play Nico next turn with Entity Tracker in play, they draw 2 cards because they create 2 shard tokens, which are enchantments. So I think we want to get rid of the Entity Tracker here to keep them from drawing cards. We'll discard the Sprinter, which we could have played if we'd had another black source. Mystic Study. I could destroy that with Binding. That would let them draw a card. But that's a pretty obnoxious enchantment, so I think we do get rid of it. And then that also gets us double black for Bloodchief's Thirst. Opponent plays Nico. Sadly, we don't draw an untapped land, so I can't play Korvold and sacrifice Binding to him, which would be ideal. I think we Riveteer's Charm Nico here, and let's just do that now while opponent's mostly tapped out. Undead Sprinter, but I don't have black and red to recast it. Opponent sends Nico back to the command zone. They can replay Nico with an untapped land. Plays the Eternal Wanderer.
I fight for the entire multiverse. We can win this together.
Phyrexian Tower. You can play Reassembling Skeleton and then sacrifice it to Phyrexian Tower to get double black for Bloodchief's Thirst. But probably better just to cast Bloodchief's Thirst to get rid of Eternal Wanderer.
We'll regroup elsewhere.
There's Nico again. Opponent hits with their double striking samurai. Ingress Rampage. I can meat hook for 4, so I think that's what I'm going to do. Wouldn't mind hitting more land. Opponent's been hitting their land drops, lucky them. Replays Nico. Clattering Augur. Make them sacrifice Nico. Sadly, don't have black or red. replay Undead Sprinter. So I think we'll draw with Clattering Augur here. Verdant Catacombs. So maybe should have left Phyrexian Tower untapped. Morbid Opportunist is fine. Yeah, because if we'd left Phyrexian Tower untapped and fetched, say, Stomping Ground, we could have replayed the Undead Sprinter. Opponent plays Mirror and Ether Channeler. Draws a card. Plays Alloy Mirror. Alright. I think it's Korvold, sacrifice Clattering Augur, or play Reassembling Skeleton. And wouldn't mind drawing a land. Endless Cockroaches. I could play Sprinter or Cockroaches, but only by sacrificing Korvold. Or Morbid Opportunist or 9-9 Familiar, but I don't want to sacrifice Korvold. So Reassembling Skeleton it is. Yep, opponent with Portal to Phyrexia. Alright, another black-red source is appreciated. Okay, so... opponent can start reanimating my creatures. They can get Entity Tracker back. It's going to take a lot of charge counters to be able to destroy Portal with Blast Zone. I still have a few ways of answering artifacts. Alright. What does opponent reanimate with Portal to Phyrexia? Gets back Undead Sprinter. Well, that was brutal. Well, so far opponents seems to have been more of an artifact synergy deck, so I'm not sure what Entity Tracker's doing. They only played Rhystic Study, and then their commander synergizes. So it's not looking too good for us. Opponent can now animate 2 creatures. And we're down to 7. Opponent is down to 1 card in hand. And then we have to sacrifice the 1/1 to Phyrexian Tower if we want to play Korvold. Which I think we do. And then we'll sacrifice the Meathook Massacre, since Bastion of Remembrance is better because it also gains us life. Opponent gets back Entity Tracker. And steals our Morbid Opportunist. Replays Nico. There's Entity Tracker. So next turn, if they activate Nico, they make 8 more creatures and copy. They don't enter, so they don't get to copy enter abilities, but then they're flickering the creature, so they re-trigger the enter ability, so I have to block Ether Channeler here. Alright. Now, the problem here is that basically Korvold's stuck on blocking duty. On having my Morbid Opportunist is definitely galling. And then I need to get rid of Nico, otherwise they turn all of those shards into a creature. We're still just dead to opponent attacking all out. Because I only have the 2 blockers. Oh yes, and with Portal to Phyrexia, they don't bother putting Nico in the command zone, they just leave it in the graveyard to reanimate. I don't know why they didn't bounce one of my blockers, but it doesn't really matter. So, despite having a good start with lots of removal, opponent outvalued us here. Largely because they just kept hitting our land drops and we missed ours a little bit. It is a little bit annoying when your opponent can just kill you if they just attack with everyone and they play a whole bunch of cards. Like, please just end my misery. Alright, well. Tough luck. Unfortunately, opponent having those Portal Phyrexia and then being able to copy it with the Metamorph probably is what did us in. Anyway, better luck next time. On we go. On the draw, facing Elenda the Dusk Rose. Elenda is 4 mana, so Vraska can't destroy her. We do have Season of Loss. Elenda decks do sometimes go wide with tokens, so Season of Loss may not be as great. Solemn's nice. Support Cutthroat, so I think we'll try it. And then we'll lead with Underground Mortuary, look for land 4. There's land 4. And then Clattering Auger's a nice draw. I think we'll lead with that. Draw Liliana Dreadhorde General. Good to ramp into with Solemn Simulacrum. Opponent plays Vampire Nighthawk. So option 1 is to fetch a tap land with Windswept Heath and play Zulaport Cutthroat. Option 2 is to play an untapped land, play Fellstinger, which I think I like better. Now we do have to discard a card. Alright, opponent misses their land drop. Guess Guess I should have kept the fetch land to fetch a dual black-green land. We'll fetch Forest with Simulacrum. And plays Lenda. They've been missing their land drops. They don't attack, which is a bit of a surprise.
I drink only the finest, and you smell well aged. Welcome to the family.
Alright, I wish I'd drawn a land here. Alright, Tragic Slip can kill Vampire Nighthawk, so I can attack with Korvold. Wolf. If I sacrifice Felsinger, they can attack with Bishop of Rebirth and get Nighthawk back. They could attack with the Bishop anyway. I think we'll sacrifice the Orb to have the blocker back.
You have only won a battle.
Opponent replays Alenda. Attacks with Bishop of Rebirth anyway.
Your demise won't be quick or quiet. People, creatures, they vanish all the time.
I think we'll sacrifice Braska here. Alright, so Liliana and Season of Loss are looking pretty bad here. Oh, shoot. I forgot I need double green for Warden, so I can't... Also, Riveteer's Charm. Elenda. And we'll wait until opponent's turn. Now, I'm not sure. I'm already at 7 cards, so if I draw a card, I might have to discard. So I think we gain 2 life here. So we're going to draw an extra card when we sacrifice Wooded Foothills with Korvold. Okay, opponent's got removal for Korvold. Terra Sunder is useful because that exiles Elenda, so she doesn't make all those 1/1s. Hmm. We'll have to use Riveteer's Charm to get rid of Elenda. Opponent leaves Elenda in graveyard. They've got Bond of Revival. Okay. Let's see here. If I choose 5 paws of each player sacrifices a creature of their choice, that would leave opponent with 2 vampires.
I do hope you make this battle exciting for me. I do quite enjoy necromancy.
Alright, too bad we didn't have an additional black mana because I could have pushed a Linda. Can't do anything about that. Have to block like this.
My packs give me... You've reached an undead end.
Alright, Immersturm Predator, that's useful. Opponent once again leaves a Lenda in the graveyard. Alright, so let's see now.
Tool.
I've got 12 mana, 13 if I use Arena.
Time to wake up and smell the decay. Ah. This is more enjoyable than slaying demons.
Reliquary Tower, too bad I've already
Plucking
played
turnips.
land for turn. Then I have to discard 7 cards. We'll definitely keep Reliquary Tower. 1. We'll discard these 7. Discards Vona, replays Elenda.
Time to get my hands dirty.
Let's play Reliquary Tower.
No way but my way. Don't. You get used to the smell.
And then what to sacrifice? Be Morbid Opportunist.
Yours will be a fate worse than undeath.
Opponent replays Elenda.
Time to get my hands dirty.
Opponent doesn't attack. Leaves Elenda in the graveyard.
Necromancy is a lot like plucking turnips. Now we are starting to run
Kind of low on cards here.
Don't speak ill of the undead.
Opponent down to 2. All right. Back up to 9. Destroys Korvold with final payment.
Time to wake up and smell the decay. You get used to it. Death is such an effective tool.
Replays Bishop of Rebirth. I have 30 cards in my hand, by the way, and that's enough for opponent. Alright. So, that game was an object lesson in why Reliquary Tower's in the deck, because you can draw a lot of cards if you've got Korvold and Liliana and Moldavine Reclamation in play. Anyway, so it was close, but we managed to outgrind opponent and take over with our powerful late game. On we go. On the draw, 3 lands. I've got Marsh Flats to fetch probably Zeator's Proving Ground, so I can play Mayhem Devil on 3. I've got Chupacabra and Cavalier as removal. Cavalier can sacrifice the Chupacabra. So pretty much want to draw lands, at least for the next couple of draw steps. Opponent ramps with Arboreal Grazer. Yep, playing fetch lands makes sense with a landfall commander. Opponent plays Evolution Sage. No +1/+1 counters or loyalty right now to proliferate. Maya is an Anthem effect. Anointed Procession. I could destroy that with Boseiju Who Endures. That does get opponent to land 5 for Maya. And I kind of want Boseiju as land 4 for Ravenous Chupacabra. Alright, opponent reaches land 5, although they don't have double white for snow cover to cast Maya. I think we'll take it. I think we want to leave Ravenous Chupacabra for Maya Redguard Protector. Well, that was annoying. I could snipe their last card. Draft Fangblade. Alright, there is a +1/+1 counter synergy creature.
Darkness will swallow.
We'll create some reach blockers.
We will slay our enemies.
My life total is fairly low. Alright, opponent's still missing double white for Maya. We can double block the fledgling. Opponent's empty-handed, so they don't have any more combat tricks.
Aren't I a gift?
And that's enough for opponent. Alright. Well, that game was considerably shorter than the past couple. I thought opponent was still in pretty good shape, so I think they conceded a bit early, but they were out of action and were still missing double white for their commander, so I can kind of understand their decision. Anyway, we'll take it. On we go. On the play, I've got some removal, Priest of Forgotten Gods, although the priest might be sacrificed to Disturbing Mirth if I don't draw better sacrifice fodder. I think we can keep this. Facing Tatiova Benthic Druid, so another landfall deck. So we'll fetch Proving Ground here. Opponent leads with Island. Draw another land. I'm happy to see that. We'll play Priest here. Could also keep Priest to use the sacrifice fodder for Power Stone Fracture. And then I think I need to destroy Lotus Cobra here. And I want to keep Priest for now, so we use Bitter Triumph. Bastion of Remembrance. That gives me sacrifice fodder for Disturbing Mirth or Power Stone Fracture. And then I don't want to discard any cards, so we'll take pay 3 life. Opponent ramps with Beanstalk Giants, Adventure, Fertile Footsteps. You can also sacrifice the 1/1 human token to Korvold next turn. Let's fetch another Surveil land. Restless Cottage. I think I'm happy drawing Restless Cottage. Opponent finds land with many partings, eats the food token. Alright. Fetch land is useful. Opponent has land to trigger Tatiova. Another fetch land. Alright, Bedevil's useful because that means we don't have to sacrifice Priest. Meat Hook Massacre. Could be good. Alright, so opponent had counterspell for Bedevil, but that does give us sacrifice fodder for Power Stone Fracture. And now opponent's tapped out. And then Korvold attacks. What do we sacrifice? Could be Bastion of Remembrance, because I kind of want to sacrifice Priest to Disturbing Mirth. Could sacrifice land. But I generally don't like sacrificing lands. This deck is actually pretty mana hungry. Opponent replays Tatiova. We'll fetch. Let's get Blood Crypt. And then I have just enough mana to Disturbing Mirth and Meat Hook for 3. And that's enough for opponent. Alright, there we go. So this game showcased how strong Korvold is, even just by himself without any other sacrifice synergies. Drawing cards off sacrificing fetch lands, for example. Anyway, on we go. Alright. On the draw, facing Danitha New Benalia's Light. We've got 3 lands. Twisted Landscape can fetch red. Blood Artist. Mayhem Devil as sacrifice payoffs. Moldermine Reclamation. Outland Liberator as some interaction. So I think we'll try it. Wouldn't mind drawing some removal. Opponent leads with Forest. And there's removal. Feed the Swarm. Alright. Opponent plays Danitha. Hits for 2. Haven't drawn land 4, which is a little concerning. I think we killed Danitha here. Opponent returns Danitha to the man zone. We hit for 2. Opponent hits their 4th land. Plays Citizen's Crowbar. And Plate Armor. There's land 4. It is tapped, so I can't play Rankle. So they can equip Plate Armor next turn. So I think this turn it's Blood Artist, sacrifice Outland Liberator to destroy Plate Armor. So unfortunately, if my land had been untapped, I could have played Mayhem Devil, sacrificed Outland Liberator to destroy Plate Armor, and took out the Thopter token with Mayhem Devil. We're going to take 4. Opponent misses land 5. No blocks. Alright, Disturbing Mirth. Don't want to use Eaten Alive on a token. Valkyrie Sword. Fortunately, they don't have the mana to make an Angel token. And hits us with the Thopter. Alright, Persistent Specimen was a great draw, because I can play that and sacrifice that to Disturbing Mirth instead of having to sacrifice my Blood Artist. And I'm lucky that opponent didn't equip either the Crowbar or Ancestral Blade to the Thopter, because now I can still ping it with Mayhem Devil. Didn't draw land 5, unfortunately. And then opponent can suit up one of their tokens. It's Vessel of Nascency, which they're missing a second green to sacrifice it. Opponent can equip Barbed Spike and Ancestral Blade. Or Valkyrie Sword. I think I trade Mayhem Devil here. Alright, that's useful. So, one option is to fetch tap land, play Vraska, destroy the soldier token. Option 2, play Scalding Tarn as tap land, play Bastion of Remembrance, use Eaten Alive to exile the soldier token. Play tap land, cast Rankle. Fetch untapped land, play Molder of the Vine, Reclamation, or fetch untapped land, play Korvold. I think I like getting Korvold down here. So I have to fetch a Shockland here. And then we'll sacrifice Disturbing Mirth, which allows me to manifest Dread. I think we'll draw a card off Korvold first. Hit land drop. And then that was a great hit, because I could have put either of those cards in the graveyard. Opponent hits land 5, it's tapped. I could leave Korvold there and then get rid of Ossification with Vraska. Sacrifices Vessel of Nascency. Opponent deciding what to pick with Vessel of Nascency. They can select any of the cards. Could be Hexgold Hoverwings could be good to give flying. Takes land. Immersturm Predator, eh? That's pretty good. I think it's Vraska, blow up Ossification. And then we'll return Reassembling Skeleton to the battlefield and sacrifice that to Korvold.
Ready to join them? I'm going to make that disappear.
Get land drop. And then I'll attack with the Undead Sprinter as face down, because I don't mind trading. Opponent does not take the trade. Plays land for turn. Alright. So I would have to double block to keep from losing Vraska, and then I'd lose both Korvold and Blood Artist. So I think we let Vraska go here.
Don't be surprised if we meet again.
And swept Heath. Got 7 mana. Sacrifice the 1/1. Falls to 4, and we'll play Immersturm Predator. And Predator can block the soldier right now, or even if they equip Valkyrie Sword to it, because I can make it indestructible. Opponent plays Celestial Mantle. We want to exile cards from opponent's graveyard. So they double their life total, but it's doubling to 4. And that's enough for opponent. Alright. So, close one against Danitha, Aura and Equipment Recursion. On we go. On the play, unfortunately we're facing Mythweaver Pak, who is a bit of an overpowered alchemy commander, but what can you do? I think we mulligan this hand. I only have 2 lands, and they're both swamps, so I can only cast Xander's Wake. And missing my 3rd land is an absolute disaster. Okay, still only 2 lands. But at least I have Bone Shards and Priest of Forgotten Gods as early plays. Endless Cockroaches is great sacrifice fodder with Bone Shards, and then we've got Garruk, Rivetier's Charm. So I'm not sure. I've said multiple times how it can be risky keeping only 2 lands. But I am also on the play, so I don't really want to go down to 6, so I think we'll keep this. Alright. Reassembling Skeleton and Endless Cockroaches are great with Priest, as is the Garruk. We'll have to hope we draw land. We do. Command Tower, that's also useful. Opponent will lead with Nissa. up the beanstalk. Fabled Passage. So I should fetch Mountain or Forest to go with Thornspire Verge. We'll get Forest. We'll use Priest to get rid of Nissa, and I think we do that main phase. They always have land when they play Mythweaver Pock, so they can replay Mythweaver Pock. They've got removal from Priest.
Leave me be if you'll escape with your life. Maybe. Looks like you're not fit to survive.
Opponent plots Railway Brawler. Okay, so I could play Korvold. I do have plenty of removal for even if they play a big creature with Railway Brawler, so I think we can afford to do that. I kind of want to get Korvold down to get in the air. And then some more removal doesn't hurt. Alright, opponent replays Mythweaver Pock. I'm surprised they didn't play Railway Brawler first.
You're not scared of dogs, are you?
Alright, and that's enough for opponent. Okay, sure we had fun. Alright, so that's our Korvold deck. Although it is a bit of a mid-range strategy, we do have a lot of removal, which as you can see was pretty important. And then Korvold, as you can see, very strong. Getting to draw cards anytime you sacrifice a permanent and put a +1/+1 counter on Korvold is great. Can't be overstated. We drew 2 cards off Korvold this turn alone with Phyrexian Tower and Severed Strands, and we were going to draw card 3 when we sacrificed a creature to Korvold when he attacked. So the card draw from Korvold is excellent. So I think Korvold's a pretty strong choice for commander. There are lots of different ways that you can build Korvold decks. You can go heavier green and maybe go with a food package. You can go heavier red and maybe go with a treasure package. Lots of different ways to go about it. So Korvold is a very customizable commander and a lot of fun to play, in my opinion. So there we are. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks very much for watching. Do please like and subscribe. That's it for Commanders from Throne of Eldraine. So if there's a set you'd like me to see tackle next, let me know in the comments. Or if there's a specific commander you'd like to see, also let me know. And have a good one. Bye.